The Carthaginian Empire was one of the greatest empires of the ancient world, which at its height, controlled vast territories around the Mediterranean. Despite their impressive military and economic power, the empire eventually fell, leading to the ultimate destruction of Carthage. In this video, I want to explore the history of the Carthaginian Empire, their rise to power, and the circumstances that eventually led to their fall. The origins of Carthage can be traced back to 814 BC when Phoenician traders settled in North Africa. They established a flourishing city on the coast that would become known as Carthage. Over the years, Carthage grew in power and influence, thanks in part to their strategic location at the intersection of trade routes across the Mediterranean. By the 5th century BC, Carthage was a formidable power, controlling much of the western Mediterranean, including parts of modern-day Libya, Tunisia, and Algeria. One of the key factors that helped Carthage to rise to power was their advanced military system. The Carthaginian army was renowned for its discipline, courage, and ingenuity. They were particularly skilled in naval warfare, thanks in part to the fact that Carthage was a coastal city. In addition to their military power, Carthage was also a thriving center of trade, with a bustling economy that reached all across the Mediterranean. Carthaginian merchants traveled far and wide, trading in luxury goods such as spices, textiles, and precious metals. They were also known for their maritime expertise, dominating the seas with their advanced ships that were able to sail further and faster than any of their competitors. Despite their economic and military successes, the Carthaginian Empire was not without its challenges. One of the most significant threats to their power came from their long-standing rivalry with Rome. The two empires were bitter enemies, engaged in a series of wars that would ultimately lead to the fall of Carthage. The first of these wars, known as the First Punic War, began in 264 BC and lasted for over 20 years. It was a bloody conflict, with both sides fighting fiercely for control of Sicily, a prized territory of strategic importance. Ultimately, it was Rome that emerged victorious, while Carthage suffered heavy losses. Despite their defeat, Carthage remained a significant power in the region, thanks in part to their skilled military leaders such as Hannibal Barca. Hannibal was a brilliant strategist who led a daring campaign against Rome during the Second Punic War, which began in 218 BC. He famously led his army across the Alps, surprising the Romans with his unconventional tactics and sheer audacity. Though Hannibal achieved some successes in the early stages of the war, ultimately, he was unable to defeat Rome, and Carthage suffered yet another crushing defeat. The aftermath of the Second Punic War was devastating for Carthage. They were forced to surrender a significant portion of their territory and to pay exorbitant reparations to Rome. They also lost much of their military and economic power, leaving them vulnerable to further attacks from Rome in the years to come. The final blow to Carthage came during the Third Punic War in 149 BC. This time, Rome was determined to finish off their old enemy once and for all. After a long and brutal siege, Rome finally breached the walls of Carthage and destroyed the city, enslaving its inhabitants and salting the earth so that nothing could grow there again. The rise and fall of Carthage were shaped by a complex interplay of factors: military, economic, political, and strategic. The Carthaginian Empire was a formidable power that dominated the Mediterranean for centuries, thanks to their advanced military system, skilled merchants, and innovative maritime technology. However, their rivalry with Rome proved to be their undoing, culminating in a series of devastating wars that ultimately led to their downfall. While the legacy of Carthage lives on, the story of their rise and fall remains a cautionary tale for empires throughout history.